Where do you want to go to dinner?
Well, hello, my friends. This is your boy, Garrett J. White, the co-host here on the Date Your Wife podcast. I am here in studio with my lovely, beautiful princess.
Princess.
All right, queen. Which of those do you prefer? You prefer queen or princess?
Princess is like what you call your daughter.
Yeah, that's no good. I shouldn't call you a princess at all. You are not. You're a princess to your father.
Sure.
To Dave.
But you're not my
Big
papa.
Dave.
You
No,
are
Dave is
not-
your papa. I am not your papa.
You're my big papa. And
I am your in other ways. Okay. All right. Welcome to the podcast. If you haven't come to the Date Your Wife podcast before, we welcome you here for the very, very, very first time. This podcast itself is brought to you by the Warriors Way and the Wake Up Warrior Movement and is sponsored by DKW Styling and...
I'm now sponsoring our
You're
show.
You're sponsoring the show
What if
officially.
I don't want to sponsor our show?
Well, it's too late. I control the bank accounts. We pulled the money to sponsor the show.
I'm out. Peace.
Peace. I out. I retire. All right. So anyways, we're here at this show, regardless of who sponsors it, talking about what it is to have it all. And inside of that have it all conversation, bringing together two individuals, myself and my wife, dual producers inside of the game of business, money, and life. And... well, we're here to have a conversation. And every single week we have a different conversation. We start off with the topic of sex, which happens to be today's conversation. We then go to the conversation of money. And then we go to the next week's conversation, which is on parenting. And then we ended up with communication. We end up right back here. This is actually show number 19. 19 times we've done this show. Actually, one time we sent a replay, which is an interview we did before, but 19. How you feel about that? 19 times.
Go us. Is it too much? Do we
I
like
don't know.
it?
Do you like it?
I get emails. People are like,
You do get
"Thanks for-"
emails?
They just say like, thanks for being real. Like I got an email this week and a girl was like, you know what? You guys are like both producing entrepreneurs at a high level and like good for you for being real. I love your podcast. And I'm like, yeah, no matter at what level I'm at, I'm still going to be me. But I think that that's maybe what people like about us.
I think it is too. I've actually got a little
because I felt like it's funny that she said that because I felt like last week's episode I felt like we were arguing kind of like
we
the
were
whole
kinda
time
arguing.
and like kind of jabbing at each other is what I call it. And so I told Garrett, I was like, that show was
You were
lame.
pissed.
I was like, let's not even air it. I'm kind of bugged because I like to have like this professional / real side.
Yes.
And then I was like, I don't care, just air it. And then I get like comments and emails and people are like, love the podcast this week, and I'm like, really? And they're like, it was extra real. So just keeping it real.
I think people recognize really quickly. I was trying to find this image of a screenshot we took of somebody.
Where are you going?
I couldn't find it. So, I think people appreciate that inside the show because too many shows that you get to see too often, particularly in the topic of marriage, tend to be really airy-fairy, theoretical
I think that people
kind of.
are scared to air their dirty laundry. And so, even if they're going through something at the moment, they'll be like, when we did this and this and this, and they don't want to be here and now. And, we're very much in the here and now. And, some shows you're going to listen to, and it's going to, flow, and you're going to get lots of value. And then you're going to get the ones that's kind of a shit show, and you'll probably get value from those as well. So
I think the value comes in the fact that we don't try to hide it, and we don't try to cover it up.
No.
I mean, last week's show was a little rougher. We were having some good communication, but you felt like I was attacking you.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like that. Sometimes I feel like...
I'm sure a lot of ladies feel like I'm attacking you sometimes, too.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like sometimes because I feel like you're just a better speaker. And so sometimes I'm always, trying to collect my thoughts.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you're like, da, 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 and I'm like, God, hold on. Let me, I'm still thinking. And so
this was actually a challenge for us inside a relationship. Being married together was... this over-talking and you not being able to get your opinions out.
I always felt like we could communicate. You're just a hard person to argue with because before I can get another word in, it's like you're like, blah, 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 and I'm like, what? And I can't even say anything. Then I get at this point where I'm like, are we done? Are we done? Where are we going with this? Are we done? So, but let's move on to this week's topic before we go back to, let's not visit the past and focus on the present, okay?
Oh, and the present that we get to talk about today is sex.
Did you do this for me?
That water is for you.
Thank you.
You should drink it.
Okay.
All right. So one of the tougher topics to get real about is the conversation of sex. Now, we have talked about this many times so far on the show. I think we've done 4 episodes on the topic of sex. We had an intro show, which would have taken us off. I think we've talked about it.
Always golden nuggets that come out of this show.
I think you're the one that actually delivers the golden nuggets.
I deliver golden nuggets on this topic because...
Is it because deeply inside you actually really love sex? Is this why the golden nuggets come out?
No, I've just come to understand women at a certain level.
How have you come to understand women at a certain level?
I think because, like, when it came to the topic of sex, like, you would always tell me that I was weird. And I was like, babe, I own a salon and I know how, like, women think. And women, I know you think I'm like an enigma or I'm just like weird for thinking the way I am or acting the way I am, but I'm not. I'm like, and he's like, whatever, you don't know. I'm like, no, I do know. And so that's
You know, the thing is crazy is you used to have the same thing about me. You thought I was a weirdo.
no, I never thought you were a weirdo.
You always thought I thought about sex too much, and that was an abnormal thing. That guys did not think about sex much. You didn't even
See?
realize that guys had sexual thoughts about you walking down the beach in a lovely bikini.
No, I think I could feel the energy. I think that it's whether you entertain those thoughts. I think that men are more likely to just have those thoughts, but I think that some entertain them more than others.
Do you think women don't have these thoughts? Like you don't ever have a thought of like,
No.
You don't. It never happens. You're not just sitting there one day and it's like
different for a girl. Like it's different because like I'm gonna give you a scenario. Like say you're on the beach,
okay,
and like some like nice ripped dude is walking by.
Like might be me.
Literally,
walking
like
by.
it's all about the energy. If he walks by and he's like, I'm super hot, you're immediately like douchebag, and then
is that what you feel really?
Immediately.
You're immediate. What if it's like a
if
hairy
he's
guy with golden
if he's like
chains
too
who's not that
chiseled,
way?
you're literally like you're way too into yourself. Get a job. But if he's like cute and lean and he's like, I know I'm lean, I don't fucking care, and he's just like running on the beach.
Then you have a sexual thought.
No, not a sexual thought, but you're just
it's
like.
It's not sexual. Then what kind of thought are you having?
Are you serious? Like, I want to know what exact thought you have. Like, is it literally like you're bending a girl over and giving it to her? Is that like the thought? I want to know like specifically what the thought is. Because like for a girl, if you see an attractive guy, it's more about the energy they carry.
So what do you
and
think
like,
about it? Like
and
to
they
hold
could
hands
be
with
fully
this guy?
dressed. They could be like suited up. They could be speaking. They could be on the beach. They could be anyway. So it's all about how they carry themselves.
Right.
And you notice their, at least for me and other women I've spoke to, it's like you kind of like notice their energy and how like their swag, and you're just like, oh, he's cute, and you don't really.
So you're not sexually turned on at all.
You
by
might
this.
be a little bit, but I don't know.
Well,
if
what
we
does
go,
a little bit of sexually turned on look like?
Like I don't necessarily like.
I mean, you're looking at this guy like Mr. Rogers, like, oh man, you're so well put together. I just am inspired by your greatness.
I just don't think I entertain the idea of like having sex with another man. Is that where a guy's mind goes when you see a hot girl?
Not some guys want to have sex with another man. I'm not one of those guys
who
want
have sex with
another man. You just said like, do guys entertain the thought of having sex with another man? I said some guys do. I do not entertain the thoughts of having sex with another man. Not that like if that's you, great. I welcome all that.
All right. So how does it work for a guy?
Well, so we're still not clear on this question that I have,
What
which
did
is
you ask?
you still have not answered the question. So
What did you
there's
ask?
no sexual thought for you about another man.
I'm wondering because you're my
walking by.
husband. How much can I tell you?
This is the show. But listen, there's the truth and then there's the lie. The lie is I've never had a sexual thought about another man. That would be a lie.
Usually,
You have to have had many sexual thoughts about many other men.
It's usually like a headless man. It's just more of.
There's no headless man. What you like cut his head off in your mind? You Photoshop it out in your brain
Yeah,
while
it's
he's
like-
walking by, or what? I
It's just
don't
like
see you. Don't look at me.
It's like Enrique just comes by and it's like his face is blurred out and you just envision he just like.
Why is the hot guy always some Spanish dude? He's like a Latin guy, right? It's like Enrique or Eduardo. I don't know. It's like the chiseled Latin man.
I don't know.
Is it because we live in California?
I think it's because you always say it.
I think it is. I always
You're
do
always like, how's Eduardo? Or
Eduardo.
I can't even say
Eduardo's
it.
ready.
And I'm like, who's that?
I don't know. You know, we came up with the name Eduardo. Okay, so we still haven't got to this. So you do have sexual thoughts. You just don't have a head on that man.
But it's not what I was trying to say. Is like if a good-looking guy walks by, I don't have that. I don't usually have like that sexual thought. You're just like, oh, he's good-looking, nice.
And there's nothing that tingles on the inside. Like for you, that's like, oh, I'd like to get naked with that guy.
Not very often.
Okay, so now we're finally getting to some truth. Because, like, I know that you're bullshitting. I know it has to happen for girls,
No.
even if it's once every 2 years when the unicorn jumps over the moon.
It only happens for you, babe.
That's a lie. I know this happens for other guys. Like, what I'm really trying to look at here is, does a woman
it
get
does
triggered
happen, but
sexually by
yes.
other men?
Yes.
Yes or no?
But
Okay, but
not maybe as often as men do, because I will tell you, if I like feel good and I'm dressed good and I'm like
Yes.
walking around, I can feel balls on me. Not
did you say balls on you?
I can feel eyeballs on me, not balls.
Okay, good. No balls.
And I yes, or like if I'm at the beach and whatever, if I'm in a bikini, I can feel eyeballs.
You can feel eyeballs
on
looking
me.
at you.
And I don't make
Do these eyeballs feel
sometimes-
sexually
Yes.
eyeballs to you?
They're like, it's almost like you can feel when it gets creepy, and you can also feel when they're like, oh, she's cute, but you can tell like they're respectful and they don't like entertain the thought too.
So you can tell the difference when a guy is looking at you on the beach and he's
100%.
having sexual thoughts.
You can tell in a conversation with a man.
When they're having
every
sexual
girl
thoughts.
can tell that. You're literally
Every girl can tell
yes,
this.
you can tell when a guy's like kind of pushing it away and like being respectful. Not every time, but like sometimes you can. Ladies, back me up on this one.
All right, so like you're having sexual thoughts then, but you're mostly like, are you being, like, is there a desire inside of your mind by physical or by visual stimulus to want to have sex?
Yeah.
Okay, so you do get turned on, like in your own mind, by seeing a body that is amazing.
Or it could be on a good movie with a hot guy.
Because they got a
then it's like
soundtrack
a whole,
and there's fucking
and there's
rain.
like a roll and like
and he's
you're
like played out. He's like the farmer who like was the
So
country
good.
singer who then like found his way back to the
Right?
hometown, which
That's how
happened
it
to be the movie
always
you were
happens.
watching a few days ago. Did that guy turn you on in the movie?
No.
Do you have a
was a bad
Hollywood? Do you have
movie.
a Hollywood man that turns you on?
Yeah.
Who is he? Brad Pitt?
No.
It's not Brad Pitt. The Hulk from Avengers.
No.
Who? Who is this? Who's your Hollywood?
You know what?
Who's your Hollywood celebrity?
My two Hollywood crushes actually.
Oh, crush. Now, are you sexually turned on by your
Yeah.
Hollywood crush? You
Yeah.
are? Okay, good. Well, who is it? Who's number one?
I don't
Go.
even know their names.
How do you not know their names if you're turned on by them?
Okay,
What movie are
one's
they in?
Thor. What's
Thor.
his name?
Yeah, I don't know what his name is. That's pretty
And
good
the
looking.
other
That's
one
a
is
good
the
looking
guy
man.
in Sons of Anarchy.
Oh yeah, he's a good looking dude too. Totally different guy though.
Yeah, don't even know their names.
So Sons of Anarchy guy is like quite aggressive.
Oh, but what was that movie he was in? I actually
don't know.
didn't
He
find
wasn't
him
in a
that
movie.
attractive in Sons
You-
of Anarchy.
Yeah.
But then he did this movie, and the role he played and his hair was cut. I was like, that's really doing it for me.
Now, when you say doing it for you, what does that mean? Doing it for you?
God. Like I'm like I like let's see where this goes.
Like in your mind, you let it go.
No.
You're watching the movie, you let your mind
No, I
wander,
don't.
and you think
I
about
actually-
having sex with him.
I only think about having sex with you. Babe.
You are so full of shit. Listen, it is okay. Like, I'm giving you permission to be honest right now. I feel like
I
we're in
actually-
therapy, and you're
I
getting to be
actually
very
don't-
honest about the
You know
lies
what?
you've been telling me for
Okay,
17 years.
It's not usually like in the movie.
It's after.
It's after, and it just like pops up, and I'm like, well, oh yeah. But then I
Have you ever fantasized about Thor while having sex with me? I'm okay if you have. I mean, that guy's fucking. He's
I
quite.
don't think I
mean,
have.
the dude's quite the man. So I'm not. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I don't think I have really. To
Never.
be honest, no.
Or a Sons of Anarchy guy
When
either.
I'm having sex, I really like to focus on us.
Do you focus on us or you?
No, us.
Like, what does us focus
Well,
sound
and
like?
you know what,
Like, what does that
sometimes-
look like in your mind?
Sometimes too, and I'm sure women out there can agree with me.
Okay.
Like if you're having like a quickie, if you
Like, you're personally having a
if
quickie
you're-
orgasm.
If you're having like say you don't have a lot of time,
Okay.
right? We have
Okay.
kids. Sometimes you
Yes.
don't have a lot of time.
Right.
And you just want to enjoy yourself too for a girl, and I don't know if it's like this for a guy, but
All right.
I gotta like focus in. I gotta like hone in.
Like, you're focusing. But are you focusing just on your own stimulation?
Yes.
Or you're focusing on us?
No, sorry, just me.
Just you. Okay, good. That was my point. So on a quickie, you're focused on you.
Right.
And on a longie.
I'm focused on us.
Focused
Like
on
I'm
us.
kind of like entertaining you, coming back to me. I'm definitely.
yes. It's like a little volleyball.
It's a QQP.
QQP. A little quickie porn star.
That's another episode we did
okay.
because I was explaining my strategies of life.
And I shared my slip and slide strategy, which actually wasn't a strategy. You just talked about the
I feel
slip
like
and
that
slide.
was my strategy also.
Yes,
So
it
this
was.
week's strategy is going to be who is your hero and where. No.
Oh. All right, so here's a fun thing. Like, there are just not too many couples that can talk this openly about
Okay,
this topic.
who
and
are your who? How does it work for guys? Okay, now you have to answer the same questions back.
All right, I'm ready. Ask
How
away.
does it work for guys? If you see, because we live in California, it's like Thongback City.
Yes.
And you're like literally walking down PCH. Girls are going to get in their car and they don't even bother putting on pants walking on PCH. You see cheeks in a t-shirt.
Asses everywhere.
Just
Yeah.
asses. And then like at the pools, you
Yeah,
see all
thongs
these like
everywhere.
thongs. And like half these girls have to be like 17. And
Yeah,
even
there's
I can't
teenagers
not look. I'm like,
drives me
I
nuts.
remember when my ass looked like that too.
Okay, so you see what you just said? Okay, look at this. Even I couldn't.
But
look,
I'm not
look.
entertain. Yeah, but I don't entertain
I
it or
know.
get a sexual feeling.
I know. Well, let me introduce you to being a man
I
for
know.
a second.
So,
okay, so
you can't not look. Oh, but
Yes,
wait.
continue.
Do you remember? Okay, this was really annoying, ladies. One time we were in Cancun.
Yes.
And we had been having lots of sex that trip. And
had?
yes, we were in Cancun. We always have lots of sex in Cancun. Or maybe it was Cabo. But it was just like no
Okay.
kids, Cabo, lots of drinking, lots of sex that week.
Okay.
So there's this girl that walks by. Mind you, she is not that cute. She is medium, okay? Just putting it out there.
Okay.
But she has a little tiny bum, and she's in a thong back. And she and her boy, or her guy, I shouldn't say boy. They were pretty young.
Okay.
They walked by, and it's not like he didn't notice, because even I looked up and noticed. But it's when the head follows and keeps following it.
I was actually following a wave that was in
No.
the ocean. I was watching it close out. It was a huge right
No.
that was right behind her.
Like, usually you're, like, super respectful, and I was like,
Oh.
you dick. You
Yeah.
totally just, like,
Yeah, I
you
got
didn't
caught
just,
on that one.
it's like you saw it, and that's the entertain. That's just, like, prolonging that ass as it was.
That's why guys wear mirrored sunglasses. Because then their
Well, I
eyeballs
thought it
just
was
turn.
rude,
I
just so
agree.
you know.
I don't think it's the best behavior on my part. Here's what I can tell you though. You've got to have a little empathy for what it is to be a
Right.
man.
Okay, so
you don't
say-
wake up. Do you
so
wake up
say
with
cheeks.
do you wake up with like hard nipples
Yeah,
in the
just
morning?
bing.
Are your nipples hard in the morning when you wake up? Never.
Yeah, they are if it's cold.
You've woke up with hard nipples.
If it's cold, yeah.
When was the last time you woke up with hard nipples?
I don't know. I don't do a nipple check.
Okay,
in the morning.
have you ever woken up with hard nipples and been aroused in your clitoral area?
When
when you woke up?
sometimes you're not there.
Yeah, but that's very rare. Like
Okay.
3 times in 15 years probably.
Okay, so
But I'm giving you an analogy
Right.
because what happens for a guy is you
That's
randomly
rough.
just wake up one
so then
morning and
you,
you're like,
you
oh,
can't
it's
control
fucking
it.
Wednesday.
So like if a bunch of ass cheeks are hanging out, like you can't control it. You're just
No,
automatically
you can
aroused.
control it, but at a certain level, you have no control. And what I mean by that, you have control of decisions of what you do. You do have control about how long you entertain, but you have zero control over the fact that if 9 sets of ass cheeks are walking by you, and you're sitting there and you're with your wife and you're trying to be focused and you like your wife's ass cheeks, you're like, I love my wife's ass cheeks, but you're at the beach and you walk by and there is not 1, not 2, not 3, multiple, and they just keep coming,
6,
walking
17-year-olds.
by. But it's not just 17-year-olds. It's like
Anybody.
everybody. Like, and you're in that environment as a guy. It is a work of art to try to not do 2 things. 1, look, and 2, try to not be weird about it when you're with your wife because you know that you're going to turn around, there's going to be another ass cheek, and there's going to be another ass cheek. And maybe you're in a place where girls wear Eskimo suits to the beach, but we do not live in that place.
I know you notice, and I don't really care. There was only that one time where you entertained it, and I was like, you asshole.
I know.
That
It
was
happens.
literally the only one time I caught you. I was like, your head just trailed.
I know, and I didn't even try to deny it.
No, and
I
you're
was like,
and
yep.
then you laughed, and then I realized you were kind of drunk, and that's probably why.
Yeah, that's probably why. Too much tequila.
Too
But
much.
but this is the reality for being a guy. Like you wake up and you have no idea why. It's a Wednesday. Your alarm goes off. You have a full erection and you are sexually ready to go. And you're like, I don't understand this. Like it's not like I'm standing here just like I went to bed last night hoping I'd wake up with an erection. Like the worst part is being a guy in the morning having an erection and then trying to pee.
Well, wouldn't it be
Have you
better
ever
than
considered
not being
the
able
challenge?
to get an erection?
For
Would you
sure.
rather have,
I'd rather wake
that?
up on a Wednesday
Yeah.
and have to pee with an erection.
don't complain
No,
about
have
your
you ever
Wednesdays.
considered how difficult it is for a man to pee when he has an erection?
Just do a handstand and
No, it's not
get
even a
after it.
handstand. It's literally an art form. You're shooting a giant rainbow across the bathroom
Just
and
sit
the toilet.
down.
How are you going to sit down? You're going to piss in your
yeah.
face?
I'm
Obviously
like
you don't
thinking,
have
I
a
just
penis.
sit down. It's really easy, guys.
Oh, well, if you have an erection, why don't you just sit down and piss on your chin?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not gonna work.
So anyways, we have a very different challenge as guys because we're constantly being stimulated. Like guys can be at church and a woman walks by and she has a t-shirt on and her nipples are protruding a bit through the t-shirt, and you can be a super committed, loyal man to your wife, and nonetheless you are sexually triggered. And this is so what I'm trying to get to is this does not happen for you. Like you do not have this trigger where like hotness walks by and you're like, bam,
No,
I want to have sex.
Not very often. Like you might get a little like butterfly and be like, oh, he's cute, but usually you never entertain it. It's like you entertain it later when like all of a sudden the feeling just comes up like how you described on a Wednesday morning. All of a sudden you're like, God, why am I so horny?
And you're thinking about Thor.
And no, I'm not.
Oh.
About Thor. God damn it, Garrett.
So listen, I'm going to share a strategy about how I've dealt with this.
Okay.
So here's what I did. You went like forever and ever. I wanted you to send me some pictures. But you were not about this. You were not about the boudoir. What were they called? The boudoir photos?
Boudoir?
Yeah,
Boudoir.
but you then went and took some boudoir photos.
That was a while ago.
That was like years ago. You did that for the first time. I think you've only done it one time.
I know. I should probably update them.
You should. But you went and did this. Why did you go do this for me? You went and took some pictures to let me be stimulated. Oh, you did them for you too?
I also did it to get out of my comfort zone.
Okay, talk about this.
I don't know. I think like when you're learning and growing in life, like I'll do things to get me out of my comfort zone because it pisses me off. Like I'm operating on a certain way. Like for example, and this is kind of a dumb example, I suck at dancing. My sisters were dancers. I was not. I make myself go do like hip hop and Zumba classes, and I'm not good, and I don't like being in groups, and I'd rather just work out on my own. And I'll like go to these classes, and I'll look like a total dork, and it gets me out of my comfort zone. But by doing this, I'm like, it's somewhere along the lines, I'm like, oh, I could dance. And I'm like, oh, this is fun.
Right.
So then I like try to like really channel in more of like a sexual being. And I was like, I need to get out of my comfort zone a little bit more because I think I'm an attractive person. And I was like, I need to like radiate more like sexiness maybe. So
that's why you did the picture.
Well, I just was like, it kind of makes me nervous, but I'm going to do it. So
how was your experience? Because I mean, you weren't taking full nude shots.
No, I was like, I've had 2 kids. I have a cute body. Like I gotta like I don't want to be like 60 and be like, why didn't I walk around naked more? You know?
Ooh, I like where you're going with that. Why didn't you do? Why don't
and
you
even
walk around
now,
naked
like
more?
I'm like,
actually, you do walk around a lot more naked than you ever used to.
I'm like super classy and I like to be covered and but I also like to. I keep thinking I'm like, it's okay to show off a little bit as long as it still looks tasteful and classy.
Well, can you be not tasteful,
I'm
classy?
trying to bring out my inner stripper, Garrett.
That's what I've been trying to get out this whole time, your inner stripper.
So we're going to end the show with saying, ladies, bring out your inner stripper.
Show's over. We're only 21 minutes into the show.
No, I think that gives you permission, though, honestly, like to kind of like role play a little bit. Like to spice it up a little bit.
So do you think that affected your role play?
Yeah, probably a little bit. Like just like getting into it, like feeling like literally. Sometimes it's like a little bit of role playing, but it makes it fun.
Well done. So we're going to finalize here, not the show. We're just going to finalize this topic. We'll move to another topic. So here's the final thought as a guy. Very difficult for a guy to have his thoughts sexually in check if he is not getting laid. So I've spoken to a couple different groups of women about this, and I've also spoken to a lot of groups of men, and I've shared this quite a bit. It's like, it's a tough situation because it's a guy you're naturally sexually charged, right? So the challenge is this. If you're naturally sexually charged, but you're not having sex at home, right? You and your wife are not having sex, and for whatever reason, sexual intimacy is not happening. And if it is happening, it's like this quickie thing with no emotional connection. There's nothing to it, and it happens like very sporadically. And there's far more couples, and that has not come down to how you look physically. Like across the board, where we've seen inside of having tens of thousands of male clients inside of Wake Up Warrior, we watch this and we've seen the patterns, we've seen the trends, and there is a ton of sexless marriages that are occurring. So a man, when he's in that position and he's not getting laid, his sexual energy even goes higher, which is what leads a man to go to porn and leads a man to masturbate, which ultimately leads to a bigger problem, though. That porn and masturbation at one level like satiates the man so that he doesn't start doing crazier shit. And some cultures and some people think this is a complete insane thing. Well, I'm going to ask you, what are your thoughts about this? Like men looking at porn and masturbating if they're not getting laid?
What do I think about it?
Yeah.
I think it's a turnoff for the girl.
For sure would be a turnoff for the girl.
I probably would say if you want to have sex with your wife and she knows you're looking at porn, that's not going to help your situation.
But if he's in a situation where there's not sex happening, like there's not, because this happens a lot, like way more, where women tend to be a little more prudish.
So what's your question?
Like if a guy's trying to find his way back into the bedroom with a woman that he's married to, and they're trying to get back kindled, but he's got all this sexual trigger desire I'm talking to you about, which is like triggered all the time. If whether you're having sex, you're not having sex, you still get triggered all the time. When I'm having sex with you, and we're doing it frequently, I feel when I get triggered, my mind actually thinks of your ass. Like I think about your breasts, I think about your body. When you're not getting laid, guys will tend to go to porn. Okay. So what is the suggestion? How does a guy, what is the dilemma here? How does a guy work his way through this? From a female perspective.
Of not looking at porn or just
dealing
more sex?
If he doesn't look at porn, but he's still not getting any acceptance in the bedroom.
has to
But then
be-
he gets
it has
shamed
to-
for going to porn trying to deal with this trigger situation.
Sex is like it's crazy because like you can have couples who are not in a good space, but they're having sex, but like you said, it's like super hollow, and so I still don't know what you're trying to ask me. Like, what it has to be both parties have to like come back together. Like, you have to like. I don't know what you're specifically asking me. On the girl's side, like, what can she do, or how do they? What do you think? I don't know.
Let's just go to this. I mean, I was in the valley for a while with you, like we multiple times, like where we went through times where we were not
that's
really
where I was
sexually
gonna go.
compatible.
So I think, I think like if you're in this like funk in your relationship, it's hard because it's like the girl, if like neither needs are being met, then the girl is like, I'll have sex, but I'm not really attracted to you. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And there was a period in our marriage where I was just like, that's fine. I know you need to have sex, but I was almost like, ugh, I really don't. It's just a wife duty. You know what I mean?
Well, you were almost like disgusted by it. Like, and
I don't know if I
took.
was disgusted, but I was just like, sleep or sex. I was like, nah. But it just, I don't know. I think so. It just, like, if my needs aren't being met, like, I don't want to have sex. But at the same time, I have to kind of cross. We talk about this all the time on our podcast.
Yeah.
But if I want my needs met, I kind of have to cross the line too. And then it's like this balancing game of he has to cross my line, I have to cross his line. And when we get out of whack and it's like somebody keeps trying to push and cross the line and the other person is not like receiving that and they're not crossing the line and like meeting their husband's needs or vice versa, then that's when like shit doesn't work. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I feel like for us, when I feel like a little bit of a drift, I feel like it's either because I'm not meeting your needs or I'm not feeling like my needs are met. And that's when you
Okay.
get, and it's honestly, I can't give you like a specific formula.
All right.
It's just like, I feel like if you're in a funk, both of you, not just like the girl, but both of you have to kind of cross lines and be like for me, like mine's probably like, I like having acts of service. I like gifts. I like time. And Garrett likes words of affirmation and touch and feel and sex. And so at the same time, if I'm not feeling my needs are met, I know like I can just go take him up to his office and quickly meet his needs, and then he'll come back down and quickly meet my needs in some other form. Like he'll, like you like the other day, he was like, "Hey babe," like he's always like, hire someone to clean the kitchen, and we do hire someone to clean the kitchen. And then the other day, like I came home, I went for a little jog outside, and I came home, I'm like, "Oh, thanks babe, you like wiped off the counters and cleaned the kitchen." And to me, even though I can pay for a cleaner, like little things like that. That's what I like. And
we had great sex that night.
I know. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you start to kind of notice, like even if you're running late to work, you know, like I can hire a cleaner every single day, but like I don't want somebody in my house every single day. Like we already have somebody coming twice a week.
Right.
And it's just my routine to like get up, wipe off the counters, throw some dishes in the dryer, and in the washer.
That's why our dishes
That's
are
why
broken.
I suck at cleaning. But you know, it's just like my routine. I go through and I do my little sweep of the house because I like a clean house. And I'm not like overly OCD with like my cleanliness. I just like it like kind of wiped off. And so I think Garrett knows that. And it's like, it reminds me of that funny movie with Jennifer Aniston and what's his name? And she's like, I want you to want to do the dishes. And so I'd always joke around with Garrett, and he's like, what do you want me to do? I'm paying for this. I'm doing this. I'm supplying this. And he was providing for me, but I'm like, I want you to want to do the dishes. Like, it's because it's that act of service. I could pay for it myself, you know, but it's like, I like that he went out of his way and thought to do that. And so like for me, like if he's stressed out or if it's been a few days or whatnot, like I go out of my way to sneak into he has his man cave, sneak into his man cave. And I'm like, hey, you want to have sex right now? And he's like, yeah, like the middle of the day, like, you know, and I like, it's quick, but I still make it fun. And so it's like crossing the line. Or like he likes words of affirmation. And we talked about this in our last show. Like that's hard for me. Like I don't really think to do that. It's like, it's hard for me. Like I'd rather be like, let's go have sex and not talk about it. But I try to like go out of my way to be like, okay, like send him a text, like, I love you. Hey, great work today. Good job. Hey, you know what I mean? Like little things, but I don't send like a paragraph like you do. But I do work on it. So I think it's a balance of like crossing each other's lines in order to feel like your love's reciprocated. And then when you're at that place, then you can go and have really good sex and both of you guys have fun because you actually love and enjoy wanting to be around and with one another.
So here's what I can say on the porn side.
Oh, we're still going back to that.
No, we didn't close the loop. So you did beautiful. You shared some amazing value.
Okay.
Now I'm going to close the loop on the porn thing. Here's what I can tell you to the guys. Here's the first message to the ladies, right? If you shame and guilt your husband because he looks at porn, I'd encourage you to take a look in the mirror. Take a look in the mirror at how you're showing up. right? Now, I'm not saying in every case is like this. There are some guys who are absolutely addicted to porn, and they got major fucking issues with it. No different than a cocaine addiction or a meth addiction. Like, they're addicted, and they're twisted in their
They're
brain.
looking for a high.
And they've got some problems. But that is a very small minority of the men who look at porn. The majority of men that look at porn are looking at porn because they are not getting sexual needs met and emotional needs met at home. Like, the relationship sex game is horseshit, and it's not working out. So first thing I'm going to have you do, if you're a woman listening to this, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, how am I showing up sexually for my husband? Like, am I showing up, or have I gotten to a point where I'm okay with just not giving a shit anymore, and I'm just going to keep dumping all of the responsibility of money, time, and energy on my husband without putting out? So I'm going to put that one out there first. So consider that the porn addiction or the porn direction the man goes to is because you're not showing up. Now I'm going to talk to the guys. Here's the problem with porn, though. Porn, it satiates in a moment, and if you look at porn occasionally and masturbate, listen, I'm not here to tell you should or you should not. Like, here's what I know. I've looked at porn and masturbated in the past, and I am so confident that at some point in the future, I will do it again. Like, it is something that there are times that happen inside of a couple months cycle where shit just goes sideways, and it happens. Right? But here's what I will tell you with consistent porn consumption and masturbation is this. You will stop putting your sexual energy towards your wife. What I mean by that is that you will actually deplete all of your sexual energy into the computer or into your cell phone, and through masturbation, literally pushing your energy away into the nothing. Right? Because the computer's not going to give you a hand job. And you're sitting here pushing, you're jerking off, and your sperm's going into wherever you're putting it. And it's not like there's no exchange of energy. So what I started to notice for myself is when I would go through these strings of looking at porn and masturbating, because Danielle and I were not on the same page, I would feel bad, I would feel alone, I would feel isolated, and I would go to porn. It would make it worse. It would make it worse because I would start feeling even more resentment to Danielle because it's a hollow experience. Porn and looking at porn by yourself and masturbating is a hollow experience. Like, you get satiated, you're done. You feel like it's not even that you feel good. It's just that you don't feel the overwhelm of the sexual energy anymore and the frustration of nowhere to take it.
You don't feel the connection that you would, I'm sure, if you had good sex with your wife.
No, you're not even close. Not even close. It's like it's like the difference between masturbating with sandpaper versus like making love to your wife. It sounds horrible, and yet that's really what it is in comparison to true sexual connection with your wife.
What would you suggest, like? So say, because I've known friends, couples in the past, and like we always joke around at work, and we're like, if you just put out for your husband, like everybody's gonna be happy. But then I've talked to girls who are like putting out a lot, and then their husbands are still kind of a-holes.
I think
what do you think? What do you think's going on there? Like, what advice? I don't know what, from a guy's standpoint.
I can tell you there are far few situations with a woman that's putting out all the time in marriage where there is problems.
I know a couple.
And what I mean by that, you know a couple?
I know a
few.
You
know one.
No,
You have more than one that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
You have two. How many women do you know?
How many women do you know?
I don't know. I'm probably sure a couple hundred.
But I'm just saying, like, what happens in that scenario?
That's the exclusion. We're going to call that the unicorn factor. Most of the time what ends up happening is the woman is not putting out. That is a fact. It is not the other way around where a woman's putting out all the time. I'm not saying that there is not a situation. It's just like the porn conversation where there is likely men out there who have real big fucking porn problems and you need to get help. But that's not the rule of thumb for most guys are not looking at porn every single day, but they are going to porn every couple weeks or maybe even once a week because they're trying to find a way to dance around this marital sex game. It's difficult, particularly for guys with wives who are pregnant. That's hard, too, for a married guy. It's hard because you're you're kind of in sexual timeout for a bit.
Not really.
Yeah, after the baby comes.
I can speak from, you have to wait 6 weeks after you have
a
baby. But from a girl's perspective, like when I'm pregnant, like I feel like hormones are kind of raging, and I know you always kind of want to dance around it, and the first trimester you're just fucking tired, but then after that you're kind of ready to go, and the guy in my experience you'd be feel like you need to be kind of is this okay? So I don't know if it's awkward for a guy or you're less turned on, but I kind of felt like you were not as attracted. Or maybe you just kind of worried you were gonna
poke the baby in the face?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. I think it's hard to say back then because Ruby's 7 years old, And
no, but I was recently pregnant and I miscarried, and you were even like, I don't know if I can approach you. And
yeah, but you were in the hard zone.
I was in the tired phase,
you were
but
in the
still,
tired
your
sick
energy
zone.
towards me was like really like you were pushing away, which I didn't like.
I know,
so,
I was kind of shutting down.
So I don't think you should do that.
Well, I don't know how not to shut down when you're falling asleep at 7 o'clock at night.
I cannot help it. You should sleep in and have sex with me in the morning then.
So you're saying that when you get pregnant again, which we're going to try again in the future.
Don't act weird about it, because I always felt like, am I already ugly? I mean, I feel fat already.
No, I wasn't feeling that. It's like a kind of a weird thing as a guy because you don't want to push the line.
As a girl, you already feel really super fat, so don't fucking act weird.
So I should fuck you more.
No, but just be normal.
What is normal?
Just be normal. Like
just normal. Just hit on you like normal.
Yeah.
Grab your breasts.
Or tell me I'm sexy. Like
grab you by the back of your hair. Shake you a little bit.
That's what you like. I have a weave in. I can't do that.
All right. So we're going to end the porn conversation with this, which is, guys, at the end of the day, it's not actually going to help you out a lot. So my suggestion is keep all that sexual energy in, because what it actually does is it forces you to get committed to getting laid. This is what I've noticed for myself. If I keep all the sexual energy inside of me and I don't masturbate and I don't look at porn, then it forces me to focus all that energy at Danielle, and then I just walk into the bedroom naked. Have you noticed this new strategy?
You walk into the room naked?
Yeah, have you noticed I just come to bed naked? It's one of my new strategies.
You just come to bed naked?
Yep, batting 1,000 on this one.
I don't notice.
You don't notice that I come to bed naked? You don't notice because those are the nights that I'm taking you.
I don't know if you noticed, but I come to bed naked also. So
You do
it turns
not.
out we're in a mutual agreement.
You came to bed naked when?
I don't
You've come to. I was like, what the hell? Did I miss that night?
No,
were
sometimes
you with Thor?
Well, sometimes if I go to bed with like underwear and a bra on, like it's it's go time.
Have you? Oh, yeah, that's true. That doesn't happen too often. But if you come with a thong
Sometimes
to bed,
I come
it is
in
go
with,
time.
Yeah, if I come in with just a cute pair of
just
underwear,
cute panties on, it's go time.
obviously it's time.
Yeah, it's obvious. Well, it's like totally different than like sweats, Lululemon
sweats.
hoodie,
I
cuddled
am
up in 9
I'm
blankets
like a
and
bear.
15 pillows.
I like to put the air at like 66, and then I like put on a hoodie and like a scuba suit, and then I have like 3 comforters, and I'm like, don't touch me.
And then I
good.
slowly investigate with my hands,
Yeah.
like I'm trying to find you underneath there. Next thing you know, I like find our dog. I'm like, the dog's buried in here, for God's sakes. All right, so we're gonna come back on this and kind of wrap our topics for tonight's show. Today's show, we're actually going on a date night tonight.
We're going on a date night.
And our game here has been around. We started on this topic of triggers, sexual triggers, and we came to the final realization that you're rarely, as a woman, you're triggered sexually.
Sometimes.
But rarely. And as for a guy, you're triggered all the time, like 75 times a day. And the pass up on this entire thing really comes down to an interesting strategy, which is I have to pretend that I don't want her.
I think that it's important for guys to like entertain that though, because sometimes for you, like if you come across like too like, I can't hold back anymore. I'm like, dude, like simmer down. I always think like back when you're like dating and like when you first are dating somebody, you think they're super hot, and I'm sure as a guy you kind of have to resist. But girls can feel that sexual tension, and we like it. Like we like you to play it cool a little bit, and then like just subtle gestures. But if you're too like it's like it's a lot, and then it almost for me has like a backfire like response where I'm like, good, it's too much. Like give me some space. Like play a little hard to get kind of thing. And so I think it's good even if you are married to kind of like play it cool a little bit or like hold back a little bit, not too standoffish where she's like, do I not look cute? I like feel super confident, but
that's a tough line for guys. I'm not gonna lie, but that's a tough line. That's a tough line for guys.
But you can read like people's. I can read people's energy pretty good. Like
so can I. But it would like when you get to a point where you're so sexually turned on by your wife, right? And you're trying to hold it back. And you're trying to play it cool, at some point you have to literally build a fortress of concrete and just lock it all back.
Yeah, but all I was saying is
when that happens, then you feel like
it's good just to hold
we're
back
unplugged.
a little bit. No, there's a balance. You know the balance. You do it.
I do it. Every time you touch my arm, I feel blood to my penis.
You do
I'm not going to
not.
lie. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's because we're talking about sex.
This is the problem about being, yeah, exactly. Right now, all this rubbing that you're doing, like literally right now, my mind immediately goes to your naked ass. Like I can't not go there. Like you don't even have to say anything. If I touch you like this, like what does it do to you?
I can look at you and just kind of like smile.
And then I'm horny and I'm ready to go.
I
already start to get blood leaving my brain. I become dumber and like I become like chubby.
We
down
are
below.
so powerful. powerful. Look at us, ladies. Just
All right, that's a good topic to end on. So let's end with the final message from you about the power as a married woman and the topic
use it
of
to your
sex.
advantage.
Okay, we'll give them some serious counsel here. How can they use the topic of sex if they're in a frustrating situation in marriage? How can they use sex as a tool and as a connecting piece to restore order in the relationship? You've done that. You've come across the line. I know at times, like when we were first establishing this was not a comfortable thing for you. So give them some counsel. I gave the guys some counsel. The porn and the masturbation thing is not helping.
My counsel is just always, like I said before, like look on trying to cross the line. And it's hard. Like I get it. Sometimes like I'll be like super pissed and I'm like, oh, this isn't making it any better. And if I do try to cross the line, like he will always be, you will always, what's the word I'm looking for?
Responsive?
Yeah, you will always respond to it. In fact, there's been very few times where I think I pushed it too far of like not wanting to cross the line and just didn't give a shit about him. And it gets so far where he goes to this angry mode.
And then when you try to touch me, I'm so pissed. Oh, okay, sorry.
And then like I'll come in and I'm like, and I get this like scary feeling of like, oh my God, I didn't mean to do that. Like I took it too far. Like he's like he's just mad. And then I'll be like, hey, no, come on, let's go have sex. And it's not fun anymore. And he's like pissed and he's irritated and he's hurt. And then I'm hurt. And so it's just like you can't, like for me, I'm like, why? I'm like, it shouldn't get to that point. And so even for us, like, and if I could give ladies, I guess you any advice, if you have to take that time to connect with one another. So even if you don't see each other a lot, like if you're working a lot, you have to, your relationship can only be as good as you're willing to work on it. And if you are willing to work on it and if you're willing to kind of cross the line and not let it get like too far disconnected, then you can always stay in a good space. But it's when you let it go too far that it gets like oh, and then it takes like that much longer to kind of repair it and get back up. So it's just like I don't know. So it's just like always a work in progress.
I like that.
It's always a work in progress.
And that's how we'll end today's show. It's always a work in progress. And part of the progress it may serve for you, gentlemen. Currently, we have a new experience called the King's Kit found at warriorbook.com, which is a 30-day experience with us for the same investment you would have made in Warrior Book. You're going to get Warrior Book. You're going to get a War Map Journal. You're going to get a Warrior Weapon, which is a pen. You're going to get the Be the Man book shipped to your home. Plus, you're going to get 30 days inside of our network and training every single day for 30 days on living the Warrior's Way for a $100 investment. This truly is about converting your heart to seeing the new possibilities of living under a new belief system. I'd encourage you to head over to warriorbook.com.
Real quick, Garrett.
Yes.
Who are your two Hollywood
Who are my
flings?
two Hollywood things? My two Hollywood flings.
You used to tell me like the same person when we were first married, but I'm pretty sure she's not one of yours anymore.
Who are my two Hollywood ones now? You know, Angelina Jolie used to be, but she's not kind of my thing anymore.
She's getting older. We're getting older.
Do you know what? I can't really think of somebody right now in particular. I'm not even sure. If I had two people, you're my celebrity. I like to watch your YouTube videos and just get all turned on. I'm like, oh my God, look at her doing hair.
No.
And I'm not trying to bullshit right now on this. Like, I legitimately am not. I can't think of one person where I'm like, oh my God,
now
I
I feel like an asshole because you asked me who mine were, and now you're not.
I
sharing
used to
who
have a
yours
ton.
Are.
Who was my one girl from all the
You
underworld
used to
movies?
say Kate Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale.
I think you're just like any girl in leather.
I do. Kate Beckinsale.
I know what I'll
but
be wearing
only,
on my next boudoir, I guess.
That's right.
Just all leather.
Just black
some leather
with
chaps.
some big guns that you shoot fucking werewolves with.
Nope.
I was totally down with her for years. Danielle would ask me anytime, and I'm what's her name again?
Kate Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale, but only in the
But what's funny
underworld
is I was
movies,
like,
the vampire
I was like,
movies.
awesome. She looks nothing like me. Has short brown hair. At the time, I was blonde. I was like, what?
Yeah, and then it was Angelina Jolie for a time.
Yep.
And then Salma Hayek for a time.
Yeah. Oh, you like the dark-haired ladies.
Yep, that's interesting. And then was there any like? I can't really think of anyone particular right now who I'm like, oh, I want to see that movie because you know, there's somebody who was a girl that's in the Russian spy movie that came out where she was what's that called?
Sparrow.
Sparrow, the Red Sparrow. What is her name?
I don't know. She's curvy.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Oh, and you used to like the blonde chick who's been on all the Avenger movies for a bit?
Yeah, she's the same girl, isn't she?
No.
Oh, that's a different girl.
No,
That's
so
a different girl?
girls?
Oh, yeah, they're
No.
different girls. Yeah, she's
Obviously,
curvy.
we're not...
Well, I'm not looking at faces.
I was like, they both have great butts, but...
They both have a face, but I can't remember what it looks like. All right, anyways, we're wrapping this up. I don't have a clear Hollywood girlfriend. I will be committed 4 weeks from now to come with you with a clear answer. Scarlett Johansson. Yes. Okay, I would say she's probably top of the list.
Okay. She's got a great ass.
I appreciate you saying that because she does. We both
I'm
agree.
a little bit turned on by her.
Really? Are you more turned on by... No, never mind. We're gonna say that.
Let's not go there.
Well, this show is over. Thank you so much for being here. We look forward to having you here next week with us on the Date Your Wife podcast. Again, you can get the video, show notes, actions, discussion guides, etc. by heading on over to dateyourwifenow.com. Subscribe on iTunes, leave us a review, and/or Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, pretty much anywhere else where you can find podcasts. Thanks so much for being here. We love your support in this, and we hope that this show helps. This is all we got for you. We are headed out to date night, going to dinner, and then to a graduation event with my wife's company. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week.